For today's review, I'm going to be talking about The Hours. This is a 2002 film directed by Stephen Daldry. It was nominated for Best Picture of the Year, and of course it won the Academy Award for Best Actress, Nicole Kidman, playing Virginia Woolf. I had not seen this movie in quite some time. In fact, I think the last time I saw it before recently was when it first came to video. So I'm talking almost well over 10 years now. So I wanted to revisit it, and I have recently. And it's a really good movie. What the kind of premise is, we have Virginia Woolf, who is the author, and she's kind of setting up this world that we see. The premise behind it is this is a woman's entire life shown in a single day. So we see three stories that kind of connect in certain ways. We have Virginia Woolf, of course, struggling to write her novel, and it's set in the 1920s. She's also sort of in seclusion after dealing with mental illness. She has depression, she has madness, and it's kind of about her day and her struggles with writing, essentially. The book she's writing is Mrs. Dalloway, and so in the other story we have 1950s housewife who is reading that book, and it's kind of about her struggles and her trying to feel her place in life and not feeling part of it, not feeling anything, and feeling trapped. Then we have the third story, and that's the second story is with Julianne Moore. The third story is with Meryl Streep playing a New York City editor in modern days. Well, modern days at the time, I think it's set in 2001, where for all intents and purposes she's basically the subject of the novel, but in an indirect way, like not literally, more like a loose modern interpretation of it, sort of. So they all kind of connect in certain ways, some ways more literally than others. So they go kind of back and forth between these three stories throughout the whole movie. And I think that's a very interesting kind of premise to show these three stories and how they intermingle, how they interconnect, basically. I don't think it does that perfectly. Like, I don't think they connect absolutely perfectly. And probably, I would say the biggest problem with the movie is that, I don't know, at least for me, one section of the movie clearly stands out as being the better and more kind of engaging stories, which is the Meryl Streep story in modern day New York, where she's planning for her party, buying flowers like Mrs. Dalloway, and coming to see her friend, her former lover, an author dying of AIDS, played by Ed Harris. Brilliant in his role. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I find it strange that Ed Harris doesn't have an Oscar. That's crazy, but he's great in the movie, and I think the strongest scenes are actually the two scenes between those two. And so, I don't know, when one section of the movie clearly is the more engaging and better, I think there's a problem there. Not to say that there's, anything wrong with the others, but I just thought that section stood out as being better. But obviously they all connect, again, in sort of loose ways, like a very direct way. This is sort of a spoiler, but I'll give it away. Basically, the Julianne Moore 50s housewife story. For most of the, she basically what Virginia Woolf is kind of toying with is that a certain character will end their lives over something completely trivial. In this case, it's she's baking a cake, and she gets upset over it, and she may end her life over that. But her son's with her the whole time, and the son happens to be the Ed Harris character. So this is looking back on that sort of through his interpretation of it and how it affects him, how it's affected his life. So, I mean, the three stories just kind of connect in very abstract ways, which is fine. But I would say for this movie, there's like no aha moment where you think, yes, this is how it all connects. This is very deep and cool. Not really. It gets very close. There's a great scene where we do see, well, again, I'll just say spoilers in this review. Julianne Moore's character would not end up killing herself, but we do see her later on in the movie, and we kind of see how it connects and things like that. So I thought that was pretty good. But I don't know, like the way they connect isn't perfect, and I know it's based on a novel, so I don't quite know if it's a problem with the writing of this movie or it's a problem with the source material. If it's a problem with the source material, I mean, maybe they could have made some changes to make the comparisons and the connections stronger, because when the movie first starting, we do feel like, okay, yeah, like everything's kind of connecting. We see characters, washing their face. We see, and they're all doing it at the same time in the same day in completely different eras, and I thought that was really great. Or like moving a vase of flowers or something like that. So I thought all that was really good, but then the movie just kind of, I don't know, it meanders a little bit and doesn't get that big connection that we crave so much from what's kind of promised from the beginning. And I'll say for sure, being kind of an adaptation of a novel, there are moments in the movie where they almost like stop short, and I think the movie almost a little bit tries to be a little bit too profound, a little bit too poetic, meaningful, because there are so many sections in this movie where it just stops short, where characters will have long diatribes about life and happiness and regret and whatever and things like that, which is fine every once in a while in a movie, but like there's so many scenes where a character will just go off, and so maybe that might have worked in the novel itself, but in a movie it feels more literary than cinematic, I guess you could say. Like that there's a problem when the movie stops short, where John C. Reilly, playing Julianne Moore's husband, stops and just does this whole speech about meeting his wife and all about happiness, and like, okay, whatever, man. But I think, could have showed a little restraint in that respect. But I feel like I'm, kind of negatively knocking the movie. I really like it. I think it's close to greatness. I think it's a really good movie. It could have been better. It could have been great. It could have been this deep thing that it wanted to be, but I'm not quite sure how it could have done that. I think maybe if they, connected things a little bit better and stronger, kind of removed a little bit of the excess monologuing, maybe they could have made it a stronger movie and trust us that we get it. So I'd say that's a problem. But again, I think the scenes with Meryl Streep and her story, they're just excellent, particularly with her relationship with the Ed Harris character. I think those are the strongest points of the movie. Nicole Kidman is excellent. In fact, this movie, I mean, for all story issues, you want to see this movie for three incredible performances, which is absolutely what we get from Nicole Kidman, Julianne Moore, and Meryl Streep. Three iconic, great actresses delivering landmark performances. I think like this is kind of a big deal at the time. I know it didn't win Best Picture, but it actually did. If you may recall, it won the Golden Globe for Best Picture, along with Best Actress for Nicole Kidman. So that's pretty, that's a distinct honor, I'd say. So it was kind of a big deal at the time, and I think maybe I just forgot about the movie, but I'm so very glad to have revisited it, because it is really good, but just not great. But I love the performance, and these are three of the best actresses around her, at least at the time. And it is hard to say like who's the lead performance and who's the supporting performance, because Nicole Kidman won for Best Actress and Julianne Moore was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Meryl Streep, funnily enough, wasn't nominated for anything, I guess because she was in adaptation that year, so that kind of maybe split her vote. Nicole Kidman, I wouldn't say she's really the lead actress of the movie. That's just the thing. Like, they all kind of share the lead, I guess. So, she won for this movie. I don't quite think she should have. Like, I would say, she's done other better performances, but it was probably just kind of one of those things where it was just her time to win. She's a great actress, so she deserved to win for something. Like, kind of like how you think about, like, Paul Newman winning for Color of Money, or Al Pacino winning for Scent of a Woman, Judi Dench winning for Shakespeare in Love. All these like other amazing great performances, and they win for those. It's like, what? The same's probably going to happen for Leo this year for The Revenant, but it's neither here nor there. So yeah, that's my review of The Hours. I think it's a very good movie, definitely worth checking out, especially if I haven't seen it in a while. For all its faults, it's a moving movie. It has excellent performances, and I think it really captures the moods and feels of its specific eras in the 20s, in the 50s, in modern day. So it does that very well. It's a very good atmospheres that it creates in showing these different stories. So definitely a very good movie. I like it a lot, and thank you very much for watching my review. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Visit Derek237.com. Stay tuned for more 31 Days of Oscar. We have plenty more to go this month, and until next time, I'll see you later.